When I was a child up in Philadelphia, the summers were just as brutal as they are here with heat. And we always had certain things that happened in our family that told us that summer was beginning. Starting from Memorial Day, we all began to have iced tea. Now down here in Texas, you drink iced tea all year round, but up there, Memorial Day to Labor Day, homemade iced tea, not mixes, but made by my mother out in the yard with a big jar of brewing tea. But there was another indication that summer was here when we went to Mass on Sunday. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, there was no sermon. But unfortunately for you, we have air conditioning here, and so you will have a sermon. Jesus is not condemning possessions. You've got to have things in order to stay alive. You've got to have food on the table. You've got to have all kinds of things in order to sustain your existence and your life, which is God's will. But Jesus came to inaugurate the kingdom of God. He's the first citizen of the kingdom, you might say, and he's called all of his followers to be citizens of the kingdom and to show people how to live in that kingdom. He calls us, because we're the disciples in our time, to continually model good citizenship. So he's not telling us that we have to be poverty-stricken in order to be good citizens of the kingdom. He's telling us that we have to moderate our use of things so that things don't dominate our way of life, thus giving a bad example of living in the kingdom of God to our neighbors and those who see us and know that we are disciples of Jesus. But he is calling us to be prudent, not let the things that we need take over the way we live. And for me, I'll be very frank, I think what happens is that in life we have periods of insecurity where we try to fortify ourselves against that insecurity, and sometimes we do it by amassing things. Hoarding, for one thing, or storing great amounts of money. It's never been my problem to store great amounts of money because there hasn't been any money to store. But I noticed when I was very young, there was a period when I was insecure. And what I did was, I made sure everything around me was in its proper place. In my room, as a kid, everything had to be neat and tidy and where it should have been. I was creating an atmosphere of security to compensate for the insecurity I was feeling in my heart, for whatever reason. So the best test for a disciple is not to say, well, how much should I keep in my bank account or how much should I give to the poor? Let your heart direct you in those things. But the question for a disciple is, in what do I place my security? What makes me really feel well, safe, secure? What is my Linus blanket, if you will, that keeps me safe? And that's something that each one of us has to examine ourselves for. So that's the homework for the week. Ask yourself the question when you're at prayer, what really makes me feel secure? What makes me feel that I am well, that I am safe? And I hope for all of us, it's the fact that we are in the hand of the Father and no hardship and harm will touch us, as the Psalm says. Where is my safety? On what do I rely for my security? What do I trust?